fireplaces, fire pits, and more. They bring your backyard dreams to life. You dream it, they build it. Visit CSSFireplaces.com and make your backyard the place everyone wants to be this season.
Hey, Hickett here. I want to talk skin along with my friends at Peaches Dermatology, reminding you to wear your sunscreen. Football season is back, baby. And with that, days under that bright sun. So when you load up that truck for the game day tailgate, or the chairs for your kids' flag games, or even the boat heading downtown to watch our Jags, make sure you bring the screen. Sunscreen, that is. It's a must here in Duval. But if you have any concerns right now, give Peaches Dermatology a call online at peachesdermatology.com.
If you've been dealing with backups, strange smells, or soggy spots in the yard, your septic system is trying to tell you something. This month, save $500 on a new septic system installation from Duck Rooter. As the only master septic contractor in Northeast Florida, we'll handle everything, from the required permits and inspections to the complete installation. Stop hoping. Start fresh. When you're stuck, call the Duck. 904-862-6769 or duckrooter.com. Financing is available.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too, from Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, roll and lock bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality products and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
Instant Keys is turning 25. A quarter century of saving the day when your keys mysteriously vanish.
Seriously, it was just in my pocket.
Or when that remote fob decides to quit working.
The dealership is such a hassle.
For 25 years, Instant Keys has been the go-to locksmith service for car keys, house keys, transponders, re-keys, and even high-tech smart locks. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. For honest, professional locksmith service, use Instant Keys.
I'm Matt Lennon with AB Signs. Every day, your company vehicle is on the road. Is it bringing you customers? I turn trucks, trailers, and storefronts into powerful advertising. Make your business impossible to miss with AB Signs.
1010XL, presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. He's Hacker.
Talk about a fried egg. I lasted about 5 minutes out there. I said, to heck with this. I'll do this in the morning. And I don't have any inside information. The lady that did it, she got in there. She made it happen.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
And I do enjoy drinking cold beer at ballparks. So if that makes me a baseball fan, then I'm a diehard baseball fan.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Monday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, 1010XL 92.5 FM with Jared Justice. The Hacker Ryan Green with you as we embark on another week here on Hacker After Dark. And it's a week where it is game week for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They will have practice here at the Miller Electric Center tomorrow. Kind of a walkthrough, I guess, on Wednesday. And then they travel to New Orleans for a joint practice on Thursday with the Saints. And preseason game number 1 this Saturday afternoon in the Superdome. And, of course, you'll hear the game right here on your home of the Jacksonville Jaguars, 1010XL and 92.5 FM. So exciting times, certainly. We are now roughly 2 weeks in to Jaguar training camp and 2 weeks into basically every other NFL team's training camp. Their preseason starts in unison beginning Thursday. There's like 7 games. Every NFL team plays a preseason game this upcoming week. A lot of joint practices beginning on Wednesday. In fact, I think there might be a handful of joint practices tomorrow, if memory serves. So we're kind of getting into it as we enter the middle point of August. So we're going to talk a lot of NFL tonight. We're going to talk a lot of Jaguar topics tonight. And with it being 2 weeks into training camp, you start seeing storylines developing, right? The offensive line has become a storyline. Ventrell Miller, Branson Combs has become a storyline. You look at Travis Hunter, is he going to be used on defense more than offense? I still think he is, but he's being used an awful lot on offense as well. That's become a storyline. What about the running back situation with Chris Rodriguez and Bashal Tootin and LaQuint Allen in replacing Travis Etienne? That has become a storyline. What about Parker Washington, right? And the training camp he's put together. Obviously, every Jaguar fan listening wants that contract extension. Breaking news to be displayed any minute. Will it be before the season? Who knows? I don't know. I've been told by a couple of people that they tend to doubt it, but we'll see. But certainly that has become a storyline. So 2 weeks in, maybe a little bit different mindset we have than we had before camp started. So every Monday night here on Hacker After Dark, moving forward throughout the duration of the football season, we're going to have a little Holler at Hacker. It's brought to you by our friends at AA Automotive, the full-service auto repair shop you can count on. 904-739-9977. Jacksonville phone lines are open to you. 904-641-1010. 904-641-1010. We'll take some calls, take some texts, your thoughts, Jaguar fans, on storylines that have developed through the first 2 weeks. Who are some of the young guys you're excited to watch on Saturday in preseason game number 1 against New Orleans? If you want to sound off, phone lines are open to you right now. 904-641-1010. A little Holler at Hacker on a Monday night, brought to you by AA Automotive. And we are 10 days away from the Hacker Fantasy League draft. Next Thursday night, Twin Peaks at Atlantic and Kernan. If you think you're the best fantasy football player that listens to 1010XL, your opportunity to prove it is coming up twice tonight. We will give away 2 spots, coveted spots, for the Hacker Fantasy League. I've touched base with everybody that's in it already. We got 8 in it. We got 8 more to go. We've given away half the spots, so 8 spots remain. If you want to get in, you have 2 opportunities tonight. You will hear a cue to call, and when you hear that, be the correct caller, and you will be in the Hacker Fantasy League Thursday night, August 20th at Twin Peaks, Atlantic, and Kernan. I ask only 2 things of you. Be available on August the 20th and bring some people with you. You'll have an entire table. Bring your family. Bring the boys out for a night out. Have a little ambiance. Bring a team. And if you can do that, you can be in the Hacker Fantasy League coming up next Thursday. Your opportunity once in the 8 o'clock hour, and then again probably once in the 9 o'clock hour this evening. Every night here on Hacker After Dark, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night. And Jared Justice, let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal? What is the big deal?
No big deal. It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
All right, again, phone lines open, 904-641-1010. A little Holler at Hacker on a Monday night presented by AA Automotive. We'll get to your phone calls in just a moment. 2 weeks in to Jaguar training camp. Clearly, one of the biggest stories to me is what's developing on the offensive line. Now, I don't know if this is entirely because Cole Van Lanen started on the PUP list. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But certainly it appears right now Anton Harrison's going to be your left tackle. I mean, that appears to be the direction that we're going. And I don't know how many people thought that 2 to 3 weeks ago. So that is certainly a storyline that is developing, is that Anton Harrison entering year number 4 after 3 years as your right tackle, he appears to be switching sides and going to left. Now, I feel pretty confident about Ezra Cleveland being the left guard. I feel pretty confident about Robert Hainsey being the center. The question is on the right side of the offensive line. Well, if healthy, Cole Van Lanen's going to play over there somewhere. Probably at right tackle. if he's able to come off the PUP list prior to the season opener. That would be my guess, is that Van Lanen slides into right tackle, Harrison's your left tackle, Cleveland's your left guard, Hainsey's your center. The question is, what are they going to do at right guard? Now, Patrick McCarry, a free agent last year, went in there last year, I thought did an admirable job. But he's older, he's battling injury issues, he really hasn't participated a lot in team drills this training camp, at least as of yet. Then there's the thought about, well, what about Wyatt Milam? I don't know about that one. You know, Milam, good player, but do you feel comfortable with him being your opening day starter at one of the guard spots? Then you say, well, Walker Little, right? He played right guard last year, did a good job at right guard, but he's been nicked up a little bit. What is his status moving forward? And then the one that's kind of come out of left field for me a little bit is Jonah Monheim, right? Jonah Monheim, a 7th-round pick last year out of Southern Cal, was a center that started 2 games in Robert Hainsey's place a year ago. If you want to get your best 5 on the field, could he potentially factor into right guard? I mean, there is a scenario where you could close your eyes right now and you could imagine, without a lot of hesitation, 4 different guys starting at right guard on opening day. I don't think it's crazy to think any of them. Macari, Milam, Little, or Monheim is your starter at right guard, assuming Van Lanen's healthy and playing right tackle. But I think the offensive line has become a story in and of itself. I think the battle between Ventrell Miller and Branson Combs has become a story. Who's going to replace Devin Lloyd? Maybe it'll be a combination of the two. I also think we're looking for that third edge rusher, right? Behind Trayvon Walker and Joshua Hines-Allen. Who's going to be the third guy? Well, B.J. Green has thrown his hat into the ring. He's been sensational. And Zach Durfee, the 7th-round pick out of Washington. Prospect X on ESPN.com leading up to the draft. He's done some really nice things as of late. It's fascinating how narratives change so quickly. 2 weeks ago, who was thinking Anton Harrison was going to be the left tackle? 2 weeks ago, who was thinking that Jonah Monheim could even be in the conversation at right guard? 2 weeks ago, who thought Branson Combs was realistically challenging Ventrell Miller? 2 weeks ago, who thought Parker Washington would literally pick up right where he left off a season ago and maybe be the best player out there through 2 weeks of camp? My question is, what will we be talking about 2 weeks from tonight? Because 2 weeks from tonight, we'll have a couple of preseason games under our belt, and the cut-down day, the looming cut-down day, will be on the horizon. Little Howard Hacker brought to you by AA Automotive, 904-641-1010. If you want to get involved tonight, phone lines are open, Jacksonville. Feel free to give us a buzz. That's what Mac on the north side has done. He's with us here on a Monday night. Mac, how you doing?
All right, Hacker, did you survive the airport?
Did not do the airport this time. Did a 2.5-hour drive to Orlando. But, yeah, I'm happy I don't have to deal with airports for a while.
Oh, okay. All right, I got a question I want to ask you. Actually, it's from my pastor at church. If they go to an 18-game schedule, do you think they should increase the roster to 63, a 63-man roster if they go 18 game schedule? Your opinion?
Mac, appreciate the phone call. They are going to go to an 18-game schedule. It's only a matter of time. It's not if, but when. Should they increase the roster? I don't know. I mean, they play 17 games with 53. They've increased the practice squad already. Remember, there was a time where you only had 5 guys on the practice squad. Now you have 16 guys on the practice squads. They've already increased the roster in that regard, under the organizational umbrella, if you will. I think 18 games is coming. I look forward to 18 games, and I do believe there'll only be 2 preseason games at the time. See, here's the thing, and the Jaguars are going to be living this starting this week. And this has always kind of been a thing, but it's now really taking off. It's all about these joint practices, right? I think coaches will tell you, players will tell you, they get more out of these joint practices than they do out of the preseason games themselves. I would actually be very surprised if we see Trevor Lawrence take a snap in any of the 3 preseason games. Because you're going to be getting the work in against your preseason opponents during these joint practices. You do it with the Saints on Thursday. You do it with the Panthers next week. And you have 2 joint practice sessions with Tampa Bay in a couple of weeks. Teams are going more to the joint practices because they get more out of them. They can control it more, can work on individual things, can work on what they want to work on, assuming you agree with the other coach about different drills and such. You can get a lot more done in joint practices than you can in preseason games. Now, from a Jaguar perspective, and this is the one thing I'm kind of interested in coming up on Saturday, who do we need to see play? Do I need to see Trevor Lawrence play on Saturday? No, I don't. Do I need to see Brian Thomas Jr. or Parker Washington or Jacoby Myers play on Saturday? No, I don't. But having said that, you know who I would like to see play? I mean, don't you have to play Chris Rodriguez? Or Bashal Tootin or Quinn Allen Jr.? Don't you have to see what you have in the running back room? You got to play the rookies, right? You got to play Borkesher. You got to play C.J. Williams and Josh Cameron and Husky and Regis and all the rookies that were drafted. Those guys have to play. Don't you have to play a guy like Caleb Ransaw? I mean, so much is expected of Ransaw. He's never taken a snap in an NFL regular season game. That guy needs the reps, right? That guy needs the work. I got one for you. Do you need to see Travis Hunter? Played 7 games last year. Hasn't played a down of football in a competitive game since mid-October. 10 months. Hasn't played a down of football. Do you need to see Travis Hunter in the preseason? I don't necessarily know about New Orleans, but you do need to see him against Carolina or Tampa Bay. The Jaguars have an interesting mixture. They got a bunch of guys that I don't need to see Trayvon Walker. I don't need to see Hines Allen. I don't need to see Foye. Kind of need to see Ventrell Miller and Branson Combs, though, don't you? See what you got there? There are a lot of starters that don't need to play in the preseason, in my opinion. There's also a lot of guys that I think need to play in the preseason, need the reps, like Ransaw, like Ventrell, like Combs. You got to see guys like B.J. Green, right? Strigal. I certainly want to see, Arroyo. I think he needs to play. Matt Dickerson needs to play. I'm going to be very, very curious come Saturday in New Orleans who is playing and who is not playing. 904-641-1010 is the phone number. 904-641-1010. A little Hollar at Hacker on a Monday night presented by AA Automotive. It will also be interesting, particularly Thursday in the joint practice, to see Travis Etienne, right, in a New Orleans Saints uniform. You're not going to see Etienne in the game, I can't imagine, on Saturday, but certainly you're going to see Etienne this week, and guess what? You're going to see Devin Lloyd next week as Carolina comes in here. The 2 guys the Jaguars lost in free agency, you're playing their teams coming up in week 1 and week 2 of the preseason. But what do you need to see this preseason from the Jaguars? Let's squeeze a couple of more in. Again, we'll keep the phone lines all open most of the first hour. Again, also your chance to get in the Hacker Fantasy League comes up later on as well. Let's get Jonathan in here on Hacker After Dark. Jonathan, go ahead.
I'm going to give my first Duval.
It's about that time of year, absolutely. What's on your mind tonight?
what I want to see is I want to see more pressure on the quarterback this season. And for Trevor took a lot of steps forward last year. I want to see him take even more steps forward and possibly us advancing further into the playoffs and staying healthy.
Jonathan, appreciate it. Yeah, the pass rush, that to me is both a good and a bad thing for the Jaguars. The pass rush looks like it's improved. The problem is they're going against our offensive line. So if our pass rush looks like it's improved, does that mean the Jaguar offensive line has regressed a little bit? I don't know. Again, no Cole Van Lanen, right? He hasn't practiced at all this training camp. He's projected as one of your starters. We haven't seen a lot of Makari out there. In fact, I don't know if he's done any team drills. He's done some individual stuff. That's another projected starter. That's 40% of your starting line that we really haven't seen in the first 2 weeks. You've moved Anton from right to left. So as it sits right now, your offensive line, from positions that were played a year ago to what's going on right now, you got two constants. Ezra Cleveland at left guard, Robert Hainsey at center, and that's it. Harrison's flipped spots. You haven't seen Makari. You haven't seen Van Lanen. Little's a little nicked up. So I don't know if we can read too much into it, if the pass rush has gotten better, which it needs to, because, again, who's going to be behind Joshua Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker? We've desperately needed that third or even that fourth guy at the edge position. Do we have it with B.J. Green? Do we have it with Zach Durfee? That's something to watch on Saturday. But you also need to watch the offensive line, because guys like Jonah Monheim, a guy like Wyatt Milam, hopefully, guys of that sort, got to play. Here's one, Anton Harrison, right? Don't you need to see him out there at left tackle a little bit in these preseason games? Can you get enough work in the joint practice to feel comfortable? I mean, if he's your opening day left tackle and he hasn't played a game as a Jaguar as a left tackle, you got to take a few reps in the preseason, don't you? Be interesting to talk to Liam Cohen tomorrow after practice to see how he plans to handle who's going to play and who's going to not on Saturday in New Orleans. Phone line still open to you. Also, the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures, open to you as well, 904-641-1010. We'll give away 2 spots for the Hacker Fantasy League. That comes up Thursday night, August 20th. We'll give 1 spot away in the next 30 minutes. The other spot later on in the 9 o'clock hour. Also, my buddy Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4 will stop by towards the top of the 9 o'clock hour. Jacksonville, we're glad you're with us on a Monday night, a game week. Jacksonville gets on an airplane, if you can believe that. On Wednesday, they get on a plane and they fly to the Bayou for a joint practice on Thursday and the game on Saturday. We're glad you're with us. It's Hacker After Dark.
Live streaming from the XL Digital Studios. Brightened by Harbor Dental Care, Jacksonville's first choice for dental emergencies.
When you need a mechanic you can trust, call Sam, Harry, or Joe at AA Automotive on Richard Street. From oil changes to complex engine repairs, AA Automotive promises expert service and honest pricing from a local family biz. AA Automotive on Richard Street.
Hollar and Hacker, connected by AA Automotive on Richard Street.
Hello, all you Jacksonville sports fans. Don here from Taco Lou. If you're in the mood for some great tacos, cold Dos Equis, maybe even a sip of some fine tequila, then the Lou is calling your name. Come out to Jack's Beach and experience what many have dubbed the #1 taco in the 904. There are plenty of great taco joints in town, and we're proud to have been around for this long, and we have only you, the fine people of Jacksonville, to thank for helping us grow and become who we are today. Cheers to you, Jacksonville, and thank you from the Lou crew. Taco Lou in Jacksonville Beach.
I'm Tom McManus, and after each training camp practice, you'll get my instant reaction with everything I saw from the Miller Electric Center. Get my observations from the practice field, served up by No Way Jose Mexican Bar and Grill, and only on the 1010XL social channels.
Bueller, stay cooler
with Bueller. Hey, pal. Hey, Jason. I'm glad your technician could come look at my air conditioner on Monday. You guys were crazy busy.
Mondays are always crazy. What happened?
Oh, stupid AC started making a funny noise Friday night, so I had to put up with it all weekend before I could call you Monday morning.
Why didn't you call on Saturday or Sunday?
What? And leave a message for who knows when?
We answer the phone all weekend, and we can have a crew dispatched right away.
You can?
We have expert crews on call all weekend long. And if they're on call, they'd actually like to work.
You mean I could have called on Friday and had it fixed on Saturday?
Or called on Sunday and had it fixed on Sunday.
For the same price as always?
Same as Monday to Friday. We have the same world-class service at the same prices 7 days a week.
Really?
If you call on the weekend, your problem gets fixed on the weekend.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Credit card interest rates are now over 29%. Most people are only making the minimum payments, so they're getting nowhere. Hey, Prosser here, but here's what many homeowners don't realize. Using the equity in your home, you can easily access hundreds of thousands in cash. With Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan, you can pay off your credit card, your existing HELOC, your car loans, or get money for that home improvement project. One client just got $100,000 approved and saved over $1,500 a month. Here's the best part. With Loan Pronto, you can do it all from your phone. With zero out-of-pocket, no hard credit pull up front, no appraisal, no long drawn-out bank process, and no touching your first mortgage. Rates are at a near 3-year low. Act now. Go to loanpronto.com. See how much you can get in about 60 seconds. Loan Pronto, 2,800 5-star Google reviews. Call 904-999-1508 or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
The kids are back in school. Now it's time to take care of you. At the First Coast YMCA, we're here to help build healthy habits that fit real life. Whether you're working towards better health, managing stress, or simply looking for a place to belong, the Y is here for you. We'll encourage support and celebrate all your progress, because when adults are healthier, stronger, and more connected, families thrive too. Getting started is easier than ever. Now with your raise. Learn more at fcymca.org.
Looking for a real career with great pay and full benefits? Prosser here for Julington Creek Pest Control. As a growing, family-owned company that cares about its employees, they're hiring lawn technicians in the Jacksonville area. No experience required. This is a salaried position with top industry pay, full benefits, a 401k match, and paid training. Apply today at JulingtonCreekPestControl.com. Julington Creek Pest Control, our family serving yours since 1984.
Equal opportunity employer.
Hey, soccer fans, Sporting Jacks is giving away a new Honda Accord Saturday, 8:15. Sporting Jacks men take on Indy 11 at 7 on Hodges Field at UNF. Just be there. Someone will win a new car from Honda at the Avenues and Sporting Jacks. Visit sportingjacks.com today.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. This is Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Yes, it is. Glad you're with us. Monday night, Jacksonville, Florida, Jaguars, Saints. Thursday, joint practice in New Orleans. Saturday is the game in the Louisiana Superdome, preseason game number 1. And, of course, you will hear it right here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. Phone lines open to you. Little Hollar at Hacker on a Monday night, presented by our friends at AA Automotive. Family-run local community business since 1954. If you've been around since 1954, you're doing something right. There's no doubt about that. The full-service auto repair shop you can count on. That's our friends at AA Automotive, and they bring you Hollar at Hacker every Monday here on Hacker After Dark. All right, so 2 weeks in, biggest storylines for the Jaguars. I mentioned the offensive line. I mentioned edge. BJ Green is a guy that showed glimpses last year. Remember, he absolutely annihilated Justin Herbert on that one play against the Chargers. Just annihilated him. And he was called for a personal foul, but that hit alone made you do a double take about BJ Green. It's like, wait a minute, who is this guy? And then he got better as the year went on, played the run well, and we thought coming in, BJ Green and Danny Strigow coming into 2026, which one would emerge? And I'm not saying Strigow hasn't played well. I mean, I think Strigow has done some nice things out there. But it does appear the Jaguars may have something with BJ Green. He was really good in the last couple of practices. Really good. And then the Jaguars drafted Wesley Williams out of Duke in round 4. They also drafted Zach Durfee out of Washington in round 7. And you thought, all right, 2 edge rookie pass rushers, which one of them is going to emerge? And again, this is not a slight on Wesley Williams. I like some of the things I've seen from him. But for a 7th round pick, Durfee, again, that looks like they might have found someone, to the point where 2 weeks ago, I did a 53-man roster coming into training camp, and I did not have Zach Durfee on my 53-man roster because I didn't think the Jaguars were going to keep 6 edge players. I have changed my mind on that. You can't cut Zach Durfee. You run the risk of somebody grabbing him, even if you put him on the practice squad. You run the risk of somebody nabbing him. I for the life of me, I can't see a scenario now if he continues to do what he's doing where you release that guy. So I think you keep 6 edges, which that begs the question, all right, what position does that take away from? Do you keep 1 less safety? Do you keep 1 less linebacker? Do you keep 1 less interior defensive lineman? The numbers change based on 1 guy showing out because they're not going to cut Hines Allen or Walker, obviously. You're not going to cut BJ Green. That's 3. I don't think you can't cut Strigow. I mean, he's good, reliable player. You used a 4th round pick on Wesley Williams. You're not going to cut a 4th round pick. Then you got Durfee, which I don't believe you can cut him now. So that's 6 edges. That's not exactly ideal for other positions on the field. But I think Durfee, maybe along with BJ Green, have made the 2 biggest impacts on the defensive side of the ball 2 weeks into training camp. Offensively, I think LaQuint Allen Jr., although he was always going to make the 53-man roster, I think he's looked very good. Obviously, Tootin and Rodriguez are going to be in that running back room with him. I'll tell you a guy that I don't think is going to make the team, but Austin Trammell, we call him training camp Trammell because the guy is just awesome in training camp in the preseason. He's going to be a guy that there's not going to be room on the 53, but he will absolutely be on the practice squad. And you could do a lot worse than Trammell on the practice squad because he has been sensational at times this year in camp. But that wide receiver room is just loaded, man. With Parker Washington and BTJ and Jacoby Myers, a sprinkling in of Travis Hunter. And then obviously the 2 rookies with CJ Williams and Josh Cameron. You know, this rookie class got a lot of grief from everybody pretty much outside of Jacksonville. Oh, the Jaguars didn't follow the consensus boards, and Gladstone's a know-it-all, and he's the smartest guy in the room syndrome, and this is going to blow up in his face, and yada, 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 to the point where CBS Sports, and I believe Sports Illustrated, had the Jaguars literally 32 out of 32 with the draft grade. 32 out of 32, dead last with their draft grade because they overdrafted guys in all of these scouts' opinions. Again, I've done this long enough where you don't try to jump to conclusions 2 weeks into training camp. You don't try to put the cart before the horse. But I'm fascinated, starting in the preseason, with a guy like Durfee, with a guy like Tanner Koziel, with guys like CJ Williams and Josh Cameron. I mean, obviously Borkesher, not to mention Husky and Regis. I don't know if we'll see Pregnon or not. We'll get an update on him tomorrow. He got a little banged up last week. But to me, that's what this preseason is about, because the rookie class got raked over the coals so much. There's part of me that's really rooting for those guys to prove a lot of people outside of Jacksonville wrong. To prove a lot of people outside of Jacksonville wrong. That is my hope for this rookie class. And again, if you were to make a list of guys that we need to see compared to guys that we don't need to see in the preseason, because as I said earlier, I don't think you're going to see Trevor Lawrence. I would be surprised if he takes a snap in any of the 3 preseason games, because they have joint practices with all 3 opponents. Beginning Thursday this week in New Orleans, the joint next week against Carolina, and the 2 joints after that with Tampa. I think you can get enough work in for the likes of Trevor, Hines Allen, Walker, Washington, BTJ, all of the main guys, if you will, Foye, that you're not going to see those guys in the preseason games. But I ask again, don't you need to see Anton Harrison play left tackle in the preseason? Don't you need to see Travis Hunter a little bit in the preseason? Caleb Ransaw, you got to see him. I think Ventrell and Branson Combs, you got to see what you got there. BJ Green has been a stud in training camp. He needs the reps. There's still going to be a lot of guys that are going to be playing beginning this Saturday in New Orleans. And again, you'll hear that game right here on 1010XL. 4 o'clock, I believe, is the kick. That means pregame coverage will begin right about 1 o'clock here on 1010 AM and 92.5 FM. We'll dive back into the Jaguars in just a bit. Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4 will join us then. Again, 2 spots up for grabs tonight in the Hacker Fantasy League. The draft is next Thursday at Twin Peaks, Atlantic and Kernan. When you hear the cue to call, be caller 4. If you think you're the best fantasy football player that listens to 1010XL, your opportunity to prove it is coming up. As I always say, I ask 2 things of you. Be available next Thursday night, August 20th, to come to Twin Peaks, and bring some folks with you. Bring the family, bring the boys for a night out. We don't want just 16 random people sitting at 16 tables. You have an entire table to yourself. Bring the buddies out, bring the family out, and let's have a festive time at Twin Peaks next Thursday. And if I were a betting man, I'd say your first opportunity to get into the Hacker Fantasy League tonight, you're going to have 2 of them. I bet that first one is really, really close to happening. More on the NFL next on Hacker After Dark.
Get in the game with 1010XL.
That's the only way you can play.
Jacksonville Sports Radio.
Neck pain, back pain, headache, Shinatri Chiropractic. Westside, 103rd, River City Marketplace, Riverside, Arlington, and the Beaches. Acupuncture, dry needling, physical therapy. Relief starts today. Shinatri Chiropractic, 743-6700.
If you've got something to say, holler at Hacker. Powered by AA Automotive on Richard Street.
Hey friends, Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Have you ever stored a gallon of leftover paint, opened the can years later, and it's rusty, crusty, and unusable? Next time, secure the lid tightly to ensure no leaks and store the can upside down. Oxygen can't get to it, therefore no rust and no crust. If you'd like more tips or have a question about a project, we'd love to help. Go to performance-painting.com. Performance Painting. Prepare, protect, preserve.
Performance painting.
Hey everybody, it's Hacker. You think you're the best fantasy football player that listens to 1010XL? Well, now's your chance to prove it. Caller 4 right now, 904-641-1010, and you will get a spot in the HFL. Good luck, and I'll see you out at Twin Peaks on Thursday night, August the 20th.
You know, it's funny. Most of us don't think about our water heater until it's too late. So here's a little bonus from our friends at Duck Duck Rooter. During August, when you schedule any plumbing service, they'll include a free water heater inspection while they're already at your home. No pressure, no gimmicks, just honest advice from a company that's built its reputation on doing things the right way. That's the Duck Duck standard. When you're stuck, call Duck Duck Rooter, 904-862-6769 or duckduckrooter.com.
Jack
Checkmate. I'm Brendan Cecilia, founder of Checkmate Coatings.
And I'm Chester, Checkmate's chessman, and you may be surprised, newfound fan of American football.
Really? You?
Absolutely. Listen to this. Duval!
It's Duval, Chester. Duval.
That's what I said. Duval!
Ball. Ball.
Ball. The point is, Brendan, with football season approaching and friends dropping by your house to watch the games, there's no better time to spiff up your garage with a beautiful, durable, polymer-coated floor.
We can even do it in team colors for the real fans out there.
Oh, that is a good idea.
A garage floor your friends will love?
Check. In a color that makes you proud?
Check. Installed by locals who can actually pronounce Duval?
Checkmate.
Transforming your floors, making them great. Checkmate.
Visit checkmatecoatings.com. That's checkmatecoatings.com.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. Since 1977, we've been Jacksonville's local family jeweler with a beautiful selection of fine jewelry and certified diamonds. But we're also Jacksonville's leading buyer of gold, silver, and diamonds from the public. Gold has recently hit an all-time high at over $4,000 per ounce. Pay bills, buy something fun. Now is the time to sell your gold for cash and get top dollar or trade it in for a new piece and get even more at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
David Garrard here, and once again, I'm reporting good news about how good my knees are doing following PRP treatment at Southeast Orthopedic Specialist. For an old quarterback like me, my knees are in great shape.
You don't have to be a celebrity or a professional athlete to appreciate the everyday personal attention you'll receive at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. For any orthopedic need, call on the pros at SOS.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
At Cannons of Jacksonville, they know that when you're towing anything, you gotta have products you can rely on. With over 50 years of fabrication expertise, the family at Cannons can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Whether it's a heavy-duty hitch, trailer frame, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons will provide you with unmatched precision and durability. For all your towing needs, visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
For the greenest, luscious lawn on the block, choose the local legends, Roundtree Sod. Don't just settle for ordinary. Let Roundtree Sod deliver you a picture-perfect lawn. To get a free estimate, call 7414-SOD. 7414-SOD.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. This is Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Yes, it is. Glad you're with us on a Monday night here in Northeast Florida. First day of school today, right? Now, my son doesn't start until Wednesday. So a little hackle and bark on first grade on Wednesday. But, you know, the school's back in session when the traffic really picks up. And this is a public service announcement. And I usually make it once a year. And it's about the same location because it happens basically every afternoon at the same location, which is why I avoid this location like the plague. I don't know, if you're driving down Phillips Highway between Bay Meadows and Butler at about 3:30 in the afternoon, is it a crime to be a moron? I don't know if it is or not. Maybe, I know that we're very popular with the JSO. I don't know if this is necessarily a crime just to be a moron, but, and I'm sure it's a quality school and they get a quality education there, and I have no doubt it's great. In fact, I know kids that go there and they love it. But what is it, the science deal there on Phillips? Man, there's a light there. And every day the car line to pick people up is 700 miles long. But people want to make a left-hand turn to just block the entire opposite lane of traffic from proceeding down Phillips Highway without fail. It never fails. It happens every day. And you would think, and I've never been in the situation to make a left-hand turn off of Phillips into this school, but I do have eyes, right? I do have eyesight. That is required to drive in the state of Florida. you have to be able to see. And I believe common sense is also a prerequisite to be able to drive. Maybe not, it should be. But when there's 17 cars in front of you, and you know you're not going to make it through the light, why do you turn left and block 3 lanes of traffic on Phillips Highway just sitting there? It never fails. I've had it time and time again at that same location, which is why at 3:30 during school days every afternoon, I try to avoid that at all costs. So if you have to be on Phillips Highway between Bay Meadows and Butler at 3:30, Monday through Friday during the school year, man, I feel for you. I feel for you, particularly if you're traveling towards Butler, because people are trying to jam themselves into that parking lot because they think that'll get their kid in the car faster, which it won't. And again, it's not hard to be smart. It's not hard to have common sense. Now, Jared, you come from Las Vegas, so I can't imagine the traffic out there. The traffic here is normally all right. I mean, look, when it rains, sure, we all complain about that. But my gracious, man, when people want to turn into a school making a left-hand turn, and you know you won't be able to get there, and you have no common courtesy, and you're just going to block 3 lanes of traffic on the other side of the road, I mean, that's when the middle finger comes out, man. I mean, that's when it gets serious. So it gets down at that point. I don't honk at anybody. I was this close to honking today. I was very, very frustrating.
The bigger problem in Vegas when it comes to the schools getting out is that no one does a school pickup, or very few people do school pickup. And so you just have a 2-hour period of time where children are wandering the middle of the road. It just everywhere. And it's incredibly like, bud, you gotta know, you gotta look both ways. Like that's like, I feel like your grandfather, but I do not want to smack you with my car, but you just stepping out in front of a moving vehicle is a good way for me to smack you with my car.
Well, that's a lot different than what I'm talking about.
Oh, no.
I'm talking about morons driving and trying to turn in where they know they can't make the turn, and they know they're going to block traffic, and they don't care anyway.
And see, that's one of the, I will say, because U-turns are such a thing in like Vegas, and we have medians everywhere, which I guess you guys have some, but I'm saying everywhere, they just don't let you make a left turn.
Right.
So it's just not possible to do the maneuver. You got to go all the way down to the light, whip a U-ey, and then get in the line.
Yeah, well, that would be smart here, but that is not the situation on Phillips. That's just one of my pet peeves. And it's good it happened to me on the first day of school. It was a nice reminder to not be on that Phillips Highway stretch at 3:30 because it was going to happen at some point. It was inevitable because it happens every day. I'll get off my high horse. Back into the National Football League. We'll look around the rest of the NFL. It's Hollar at Hacker. Phone lines open, 904-641-1010. Brought to you by our friends at AA Automotive, the full-service auto repair shop you can count on. Give them a call, 904-739-9977. Also, Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4 joins us 15 minutes from now on Hacker After Dark.
Share your life with 1010XL. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
Oh, wait. I'm going to take a picture and post it on Facebook. What? Hashtag
1010XL.
What if the next roof you put on your home was the last one? Not another replacement in 15 or 20 years, the last roof. Metlock Roofing is Florida's only manufacturer and installer of this exclusive roofing system. Engineered for strength, built for Florida weather, backed by a lifetime warranty. Imagine never needing another roof. Call 938-9933 or visit metlokroofing.com. Get your last roof today with Metlock. License number CCC 1335581.
Hollar at Hacker. Driven by AA Automotive on Richard Street.
It's about to get real. Training camp is on. Listen to 1010XL throughout the day for all the details and analysis of the passes, runs, and defensive performances. 1010XL's coverage of training camp is brought to you by Green Acres Sporting Goods.
If you can't wait for kickoff, tip-off, or the first pitch, get your Gator fix anytime with a Gator podcast channel. Exclusive Florida Gator content from 1010XL. Set up by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists on the video and social channels of 1010XL.
Attention skilled electricians. Are you undervalued at your current company? Time to step up to the bigger projects and better opportunities. Join the team at Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering not just a job, but an experienced, top-notch pay, unbeatable benefits, and the best working environments in the business. Please join the team that values your skills and rewards your hard work. Elevate your career to new heights. Apply today at millercareers.com, an equal opportunity employer.
T-Mobile has an exclusive bundle for customers 55 and up.
I'm Sarah Bowl.
Yeah, I'm Frank Bowl.
A reliable network is key for us. And with T-Mobile, it's been wonderful. And going to the 55 plus plan saved us so much money.
A lot.
And that's important. Trying to keep costs down. The home internet's been perfect. It's fast, it's quick. The setup was so easy, it took less than 15 minutes.
It was like, ta-da! If you want simplicity, coverage, reliability, you want the whole package, T-Mobile has it. Right now, T-Mobile customers 55 and up can get 2 phone lines on America's best network, plus America's fastest 5G home internet for just $30 each.
$30 per month each line with autopay plus taxes and fees. Minimum age 55. Pricing for home internet rely on 2 lines of essentials. Choice 55. $35 connection charge per line required. Best mobile network and fastest 5G home internet based on analysis by Oak Cliff Speed Test Intelligence Data 2H 2025. All rights reserved.
Hello, all you Jacksonville sports fans. Don here from Taco Lou. If you're in the mood for some great tacos, cold Dos Equis, maybe even a sip of some fine tequila, then the Lou is calling your name. Come out to Jack's Beach and experience what many have dubbed the #1 taco in the 904. There are plenty of great taco joints in town, and we're proud to have been around for this long, and we have only you, the fine people of Jacksonville, to thank for helping us grow and become who we are today. Cheers to you, Jacksonville, and thank you from the Lou crew. Taco Lou in Jacksonville Beach.
Looking for a real career with great pay and full benefits? Prosser here for Julington Creek Pest Control. As a growing, family-owned company that cares about its employees, they're hiring lawn technicians in the Jacksonville area. No experience required. This is a salaried position with top industry pay, full benefits, a 401k match, and paid training. Apply today at JulingtonCreekPestControl.com. Julington Creek Pest Control, our family serving yours since 1984.
Equal opportunity employer.
What Major League Baseball teams have never won a World Series?
When you file a claim with Southern Oak Insurance, we schedule one of our trusted vendors to work directly with you, which means a faster claim resolution. Find out more at southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
There are 5 Major League Baseball teams that have never won a World Series: Colorado, Milwaukee, San Diego, Seattle, and Tampa Bay.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Chicken here. You know it's back to school time, baby, with Zero Res. And right now, book 2 rooms of carpet cleaning for $149 and get 2 rooms free. Yeah, book online at ZeroResJacksonville.com and take advantage of the savings. Tell them 1010XL sent you.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. This is Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
So not only is there a lot of Jaguar news, which we've covered and will continue to do so. Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4, less than 15 minutes away. There's a lot of stuff going on around the National Football League. And unfortunately, injuries are starting to play a pretty big factor. How about Washington and Laramie Tunsil? Did you see that over the weekend? My goodness gracious. Signed a big contract extension this offseason. One of the best offensive tackles in football. Torn triceps for Laramie Tunsil. Is going to miss a significant portion of the regular season. I mean, if the Commanders' season goes south and they're not, in a viable contending playoff spot, why bring Tunsil back in, late November, early December, whenever it would be, which is my guess, right? You would think torn tricep. You look at the calendar, that's minimum 3.5 months from what I've read, probably more like 4 months. And if you're talking 4 months, I mean, that's first or second week of December. Now, if you're battling, right, for a wild card spot or certainly a division crown, well, that's a different conversation. But if you're not going to have your head above water, why bring Tunsil back at that point? So just a brutal blow for the Commanders. Same thing with Detroit. You look at Detroit, Cade Mays always has a special spot for me. He and Alante Taylor. Those were literally the first two guys I interviewed back when I started doing recruiting for 3 years on a website called Gridiron Now. The first two interviews I ever did with recruits were Cade Mays before he committed to Tennessee, and ironically enough, Alante Taylor before he committed to Tennessee. And now both guys have made a nice career for themselves in the NFL. In fact, Alante Taylor, the Jaguars will see him twice this year now that he's with the Tennessee Titans. But Cade Mays was with Carolina. He then went to Detroit on a $25 million contract this offseason. Well, he hurt his wrist in practice. Is going to miss between 2 and 2.5 months. Was projected to be the starting center for the Detroit Lions. So a big blow there as he's going to miss. I mean, if you figure, let's go in the middle of that. Let's go 9 weeks. You're probably talking he's going to miss a minimum of 5 regular season games. And that's if they're lucky. So Detroit's got to figure out what they're doing at center. And then also running back Isaiah Pacheco. Remember, the Lions traded away David Montgomery. He's now in Houston. They signed Isaiah Pacheco from the Chiefs. Good player when he's healthy. Pacheco just can't stay healthy. He has sprained his MCL in practice. He will also miss some time. The thought is Pacheco is hopefully going to return before the regular season opener. So it's not as bad as Cade Mays, but 2 pretty significant blows to a Lions offense in the last couple of days of training camp. Seems like a lot of more injuries on the NFC side of things. Have you noticed that? You think about Atlanta losing Jalen Walker for the year. You think about Carolina losing Nick Scorton for the year. You think about New Orleans losing Brian Bursay for the year. Now Washington with Laramie Tunsil. Detroit with Cade Mays. San Francisco, right, with Ricky Pearsall. There's a lot of stuff, Jared, going on in the NFC right now.
I was going to say the San Francisco with everyone.
There's talk they might have to cancel their joint practice. I don't think they are because they probably would have done it today. But remember, they canceled a joint practice, I think, a year or 2 ago due to injuries. And there was talk they might have to cancel with Tennessee. I believe that game's on Thursday, so it means Tennessee would probably have traveled out there today. So maybe the joint practice will go on. Yeah, the 49ers are down like 20 to 25 guys. And clearly the biggest is Ricky Pearsall, who's already out for the year. Quinnen Williams is a rich man in Dallas. You see that earlier tonight? A $105 million contract for the defensive tackle who Dallas acquired from the New York Jets at the trade deadline last year. So a big, big deal for Quinnen Williams. He's going to be in Dallas for the foreseeable future. Teddy Bridgewater has retired for a second time. This time he says, that's it. I'm finished. He probably will go back to coaching high school. Remember, he did that for a while, then went back to Detroit. And good for him. Got another year of money under his belt to be a backup quarterback in the league. But he retires today, and he said this time it's official. Also, Eric Bieniemy back with the Kansas City Chiefs. What a bad story that is. Remember, his wife was shot at the beginning of training camp. He had to go be by her side. Luckily, she appears to be making a recovery to the point now that he's back with the team. She was hospitalized on July 26th. She's remained in stable condition. So now here we are over 2 weeks later, and Bieniemy back with Kansas City. Probably a welcome sight for the Chiefs and a welcome sight for Bieniemy, right? Obviously, he's dealt with a lot over the last 2 weeks. He can now maybe get back to football a little bit and get his mind distracted for a few hours a day as opposed to what transpired with his wife getting shot. And then, one of the big stories in the NFL this weekend as well was the Las Vegas Raiders. Jared, your former club that you covered, Max Crosby reportedly hit Kirk Cousins not once but twice. And after the second time, Cousins has had enough. You're not supposed to touch the quarterback in practice. That's what they wear the red jerseys for, the non-contact jersey. Apparently that didn't matter to Max Crosby. Now, I haven't seen video, but I've been told there was contact. I mean, he hit him. I don't know. I doubt they were decleating hits, but there was enough contact where Kirk Cousins got angry after the second one, and tempers flared a little bit. And thankfully for Kirk Cousins, teammates got in the way, because I just got a feeling I wouldn't like his chances going one-on-one against Max Crosby. And the question was asked, Max Crosby, remember he was traded to the Ravens, and then he failed a physical, and he came back. What are his emotions about being in Las Vegas? Everything I've been told is that he's happy to be there. This has nothing to do with that. This is just an aggressive defensive end that plays the game with a high capacity for, violence, that maybe got a little carried away during a practice and laid his hand on a quarterback, and he shouldn't have. And Cousins got pissed. And that tends to happen in the month of August. So to me, no harm, no foul, I don't think. All appears to be right with the world, as Crosby and Cousins were back at practice earlier today. That's a look around the National Football League. Let's take a look right here at home with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Preseason game number 1 in New Orleans on Saturday. My buddy Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4 joins me to react to the first 2 weeks of Jaguar training camp and to preview the game against the Saints. That's next on a Monday night in Northeast Florida. It's Hacker After Dark.
This is 1010XL.
Go Gators. Go Gators. Go Gators.
Your Gator Nation radio station. Go Gators.
Hi, folks. I'm Frank Frangie. This housing market's choppy right now. Everybody feels it. But I'm Jacksonville born and raised, and when I find people who actually know how to navigate it, I pay attention. Well, that's Chad and Sandy. You need to sell now? Chad and Sandy have instant offers, fast, easy, and stress-free. Need max price? Their science-based Market Max system is a proven, repeatable system guaranteed to sell your home for maximum price. Ask Maria in St. John's. 2 different agents had already failed to sell her home over several months. She heard Chad and Sandy on the radio, called, and their team finally took the time to explain the process. Her home sold in 21 days for 99% of asking price. Chad and Sandy are the local real estate experts. Using their proprietary Market Max system, Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they'll buy it. No required repairs, pick up your own move date, no long-term contract. Call Chad and Sandy, 904-414-6200, or go to chadandsandy.com.
Awaken 180 weight loss. Awaken 180 weight loss. Hacker here, and I spent the weekend down at the most magical place on earth. Enjoyed myself, but I also walked a lot. 8 miles on Friday, another 6 miles on Saturday. By the time Sunday afternoon was through, I had walked over 19 miles in less than 48 hours. Could I have done that 2 years ago? Are you kidding me? Absolutely not. But I can do it now, thanks to the great folks of Awaken 180 Weight Loss, dropping over 100 pounds on the program, the coaching I got, the eating real food, and there's no needles, there's no medication. It's knowledge, it's learning, and it's going on a journey with your coach. They're with you every step of the way. Go to awaken180weightloss.com. That's awaken180weightloss.com, or call 844-346-1800.
Call, text, or chat. Holler at Hacker. Ramped up by AA Automotive on Richard Street.
In Jacksonville, sports are a big deal. We've got the big cats, the jumbo shrimp, and kingfish. We play sports on the ice, the field, the diamond, the court, and the pitch. We swing for the fences, drive the distance, and break for the breakers. We're home to professional sports teams, including football, baseball, basketball, soccer, and hockey. Be a good sport and go to visitjacksonville.com/events events, or download the app to stay in the game. Go Sports. Jacksonville, the flip side of Florida.
If you love the Jags, if you crave the NFL, we make a show for you. It's Jaguars Today with experts and insiders. Locked down by Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors. 10 to noon weekdays on 1010XL.
And that concludes the Joe C. Jack of all trades show. Tune in next week where I'll be installing my own French drain.
Joe, wake up, man.
Hey, John, I must have dozed off.
We finished those projects you started.
Whoa, my seamless gutters are actually seamless.
And they're connected into underground PVC drain lines.
And my sprinklers. Wow, look at that coverage.
Next time, just call me first, Joe.
I will, but I ain't singing that song.
Clearwater irrigation
and drainage too.
The flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Welcome to Key Buick GMC, proudly family-owned and operated since 1943. Come see why they're North Florida's new and pre-owned truck center, conveniently located on Southside and JTB, just minutes from the St. John's Town Center. At Key Buick GMC, every new vehicle comes with our lifetime powertrain warranty. Key Buick GMC, we are professional grade. Online at keybuickgmc.com. Lifetime powertrain warranty covers engine, transmission, drivetrain only. Exclusions apply. See dealer for details.
Frank Frangie here for my friends at Coyle Fencing. You've heard me talk about our Bregan baseball complex with walk-off charities, and we needed a batter's eye. Nobody knew how to do it. Coyle figured it out, and it is great. Since then, Coyle & Sons has completed hundreds of projects, including most recently our football fields at Fort Family Park. The bottom line is they do everything. They do it well. It looks great. I trust Coyle & Sons. You can too. Since 1927, they've been getting it right. CoyleJacks.com. COYLE Jacks.com. That's where you find them. A proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Here's another call on the 1010XL hotline, driven by Key Buick GMC, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. It is game week for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Preseason game number 1 Saturday out in New Orleans. Of course, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL. The Jaguars will have a joint practice with the Saints out on the Bayou on Thursday as well. Let's look at the first 2 weeks of Jaguar training camp, and let's look ahead to Saturday in New Orleans with my buddy Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4, who's always kind enough to join us here on Hacker After Dark. Jamal, how we doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. How you doing, Hacker?
Hey, Jamal, we're good. Thank you, as always, for the time. And, man, you and I spoke right before training camp started about 2 weeks ago. Now here we are, 2 weeks in. We'll get into individual things in a moment. But from a mile-high view, how would you assess the first 2 weeks of Jaguar training camp?
Good work. I think that there's some questions along the Jaguars pass protection / has the Jaguars defense's pass rush just improved that much that have to be answered. But a lot of young players that look like they've taken big steps forward. So I think a lot of positive so far for the Jaguars through training camp, even if there are some questions that have popped up.
And, you know, the offensive line is obviously some of the biggest questions and storylines now 2 weeks in. First and foremost, Cole Van Lanen started on the PUP. I don't know if this is a direct result of that, but Jamal, it certainly appears that Anton Harrison's going to be this team's left tackle.
Yeah, look, I thought that was always the route they were going to go. I mean, I think it was a matter of time before Anton ended up being your left tackle. And this was, however they wanted to shape it, an experiment or, whatever. Look, Anton played left tackle all his life until he got drafted into the NFL, and then he slotted in at right tackle out of need. So this was an opportunity. They've moved him over to the left side. He's taken to it like a duck on the pond, and there's no going back. Yeah, Anton's going to be your left tackle as long as he's here in Jacksonville from now on, and then they'll go forward and add and figure out who that right tackle is, whether that's Cole Van Lanen when he comes back. But the good thing about Cole, and they said this when they extended him, is that he can play anywhere along the offensive line. That's what we saw from him last year, whether that be right tackle, whether that be right guard. Wherever they need him to be, Cole can basically be that. So Cole will be back in the starting lineup somewhere. But right now, the right side of that Jaguars offensive line definitely in a flux period. So you got two positions in flux. What do you do there?
Yeah, you mentioned right guard. My impression is Van Lanen, I would assume, is going to be the right tackle when he comes off a PUP. But again, the Jaguars, have shaken some things up. But I look at right guard in particular. Look, I thought it was Makari, right? And then you see Milam working in there. And now all of a sudden, I remember what Walker Little did last year. And I thought Walker Little was pretty good at right guard the couple of games he played when Makari got hurt a year ago. It certainly appears that right guard is certainly up for grabs right now.
Well, Makari has participated, but not participated at the same time, I guess we could say. So he's been out there and done a lot of the individual stuff, but hasn't participated in a lot of team drills. So that's opened up the opportunity for where they started with Wyatt Milam there at right guard, getting a lot of reps there. Well, now that Walker Little's a little banged up, and honestly, Walker Little wasn't having the best camp of his life either. They've moved Wyatt Milam out to right tackle, and then Jonah Monheim in there at right guard. I've loved what I've seen from Jonah Monheim, whether it be in the one-on-ones or since he's gotten this opportunity to slide in there at right guard. He looks good. He looks great. So if this is a way they can get Monheim on the field, that's perfectly fine. When I said Cole Van Landen could be the right guard, I mean, it's just going toward, you have two positions that are in flux, and you really don't know how to solidify either one of them. Makari had back injuries a year ago, and then now they're slowly kind of reacclimating him out there on the football field. So do those back injuries pop back up to where they're like, man, this dude's just not the player we thought he was going to be because of this, to where you need to make that change. And who knows? Wyatt Milam was a left tackle in college. You're trying to teach him how to be a guard, but maybe tackle is where he ends up being most comfortable, and they start seeing Wyatt Milam and say, man, maybe he can be a right tackle. Maybe he is our right tackle. So I think there's a lot of things where this is an opportunity for some of these young players, specifically a guy like Wyatt Milam, to where if he shows up and shows out, maybe they say, all right, look, hey, Cole's going to start. He just maybe doesn't start where we thought he was going to start.
Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4. Jamal, we're 34 days away from Cleveland coming in here. When do the Jaguars need to figure out who their five on the offensive line is going to be?
Well, the sooner the better, because you have to build that bond, take reps next to each other. But I don't know that I don't know that you're going to have that big of a luxury, because you don't know just how quickly Cole Van Lanen's really going to be ready, right? With those injuries, they have a relative idea, but there can be setbacks along the way. So even still, even if he's the guy, how many live reps is he going to get before he's ready to go, if he is ready, right? So I think they need to make the decision sooner rather than later. And that's why we've seen them kind of experiment with some of these different combinations, whether it is a Wyatt Milam, a Jonah Monheim, moving Walker Little around, moving Anton. You do that early in camp, so that way you can try and find out as you get closer and closer to that regular season. Okay, here's our five. This is what we're going to do, and this is what it's going to be, and let these guys start getting some of those reps next to each other.
The other big position battle that we knew coming in was going to be Branson Combs versus Ventrell Miller. You and I talked about that before camp started. And Jamal, I think both guys have played pretty well at times in the first 2 weeks. I mean, where are you, in your opinion, with the Miller versus Combs battle there to replace Devin Lloyd?
I mean, I think I'm in kind of the same spot, Hacker. I think both guys have played well, to your point. Both have made plays, but I think Ventrell Miller came in as the leader in the doghouse. And right now, I don't think he's done anything to lose that opportunity. And if you watch how they've deployed the defenses, I think it's still Ventrell Miller who is that leader in the doghouse. But in a couple of days when they drop that first depth chart before that preseason game, I expect there to be an or between him and Branson Combs. And I think the real litmus test for these guys is going to be these joint practices. When you go against the New Orleans Saints, when you go against Tampa, when you go against Carolina, in these situations where they're really going to be able to stress these guys out and see them in some situations, does Ventrell continue to shine and kind of step up in those situations? Or is it a space where Branson Combs can really show the coaching staff, hey, you can trust me. Hey, I know how to handle all of these situations, be the guy. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. But I think both guys right now have done a lot of good stuff out there. So it's not a like, oh, one guy's messed up and it's an easy decision. I think this is going to be a tough decision for the staff.
Couple of more for Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4. Again, the Jaguars and the Saints, Saturday, 4 o'clock. You'll hear the game right here on 1010XL in the preseason opener. Jamal, your assessment of Trevor Lawrence 2 weeks into camp.
Look, Trevor's looked good. He's definitely had some days and some throws that he wishes he had back, but when you're throwing a bunch, you're going to have some of those, right? If there was one knock, I mean, and who's to say that this is Trevor? There have been a handful of miscommunications out there between like him and BTJ on a couple of throws here and there. I mean, not that it's like widespread mass thing, but those are things that you want to see worked out over the course of training camp. It's okay for those to pop up now. You don't want them to pop up when the season starts. So, look, I think Trevor's made a handful of just wild throws. I mean, the way he can layer a football in there is absolutely ridiculous at times. So I think he's looked good. I think him and Parker Washington have picked up right where they've left off. I think him and Brian Thomas look like they have a better feel for each other now than they did last year, but there's still maybe some work to be done there. Some of the deep shots are on point, and sometimes they've been just a little bit off. But overall, I mean, it's tough to complain about what you've seen from Trevor so far, I feel like.
And there's no doubt that Brian Thomas Jr. has had a good offseason. Jacoby Myers doing his thing. I like the rookies, Cameron, Williams, even Trammell had a great practice late last week. But Parker Washington is the story. Obviously, the contract, and that's going to get louder and louder with the fan base the longer it goes without him being extended. But, man, I mean, from where he ended the year last year to the expectation now and the highlight reel catches he's putting on, the national noise is really picking up. I think the Parker Washington secret is kind of out, at least in the fantasy football world. I mean, what are your expectations for Parker? Because I think he's looked great out there so far.
Yeah, look, Parker's looked really good. I feel like he makes a splash play every day. He's been consistently through. I think he's going to pick up right where he left off late last season and is going to be in line to have the biggest season of his career to this point. So it's tough to lower the expectations for Parker. There are a lot of mouths to feed on this Jaguars offense, and I think Brian's going to get his. I think Jacoby's going to get his, but I think Parker's going to be he's Trevor's safety blanket, it feels like. Like, you need a tough throw, you need somebody that's going to go make a play. Where's Parker? And that's just what it feels like, and that's just the sort of like relationship they have out there on the field. And he's earned that. He's earned that. Parker's looked fantastic.
And, all the national narrative coming in, or at least earlier in the offseason, was Travis Hunter's only going to be a DB, right? And you and I scoffed at that when that narrative happened, a few months ago. But, man, I mean, he's lining up on offense darn near as much as he's lining up on defense. And I just want to get your thoughts on do you think it's going to be much more 50-50 than we originally thought? Do you still expect more defense and an in on offense every once in a while? I mean, what's your assessment of Travis Hunter and how they're going to use him?
I think he's going to still be more defense than offense. I think he's going to be one of your first corner pairings that's out there on the field for them defensively. Offensively, I think he'll be a part of the rotation, right? You mix him in here and there and kind of roll out. Like, it's tough to say. Again, it's the same thing with Parker. There's a lot of mouths to feed on that Jaguars offense, especially when you start saying, oh, hey, we want to roll in this wrinkle of rolling out, two tight ends at times a little bit more than maybe they did last season. Well, when you roll out another tight end, that means one less wide receiver. So a lot of bodies, a lot of guys you want to get reps to. And that's not even considering, hey, maybe CJ Williams or Josh Cameron, they feel like they got something in those guys that they want to get them a couple of reps here and there, because those guys have both looked fantastic out there. So it's definitely going to be something where I think Travis is going to be a part of that. I don't think he's going to have more snaps offensively than he has defensively, though.
Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4. All right, when you look at this team, you're out there every day. Give Jaguar fans maybe a guy or two, Jamal, that they might not know about or know much about that they need to take a much closer look at this preseason.
First name comes to mind is Zach Durfee. I feel like a lot of people know him at this point, though. Prospect X has looked absolutely great. Zach Durfee, I feel like, looks like he is a steal of the draft. I mean, he's been impactful. He's made a bunch of plays. In that same room, BJ Green, if you didn't know him last year, go ahead and get to know the name, because year 2 BJ looks, I mean, night and day better than he looked a year ago. BJ looks fantastic out there. So that Jaguars edge room looks like it's got some juice from those young guys. Offensively, I mean, I think you hit both of them, Hacker. The 2 receivers, I mean, I've been massively impressed with CJ and Josh Cameron. But CJ Williams, man, I don't know. Something there. He's just a really good receiver. And if you watch how they treat him, they've put him in a lot of different situations. We've seen him take snaps with different quarterbacks, including Trevor at times. The coaches going over and helping to coach him up and correct him on some of the things. I think they see something in him, and he's looked really good and consistent. Obviously, there have been some up and downs along the way. He's a rookie. He's learning along the way. But I think CJ has a chance to be a guy who plays some meaningful snaps for this football team. Maybe not this year because the wide receiver room's so deep, but at some point in his tenure, CJ Williams just looks really good to me.
I mean, that's certainly the positive. Let's go to the negative. And I'm not saying there's going to be an earth-shattering cut in a couple of weeks, but is there a guy or 2 guys that Jaguar fans might know their name, that might have played here for a few years, that could be in trouble for making the 53-man roster?
In trouble for making the 53 is tough. If you're asking me who struggled through camp, I'd say this is Walker Little's probably worst training camp, in my opinion, since his rookie year. Like, he's looked rough as they've moved him around. I don't think he's on the roster bubble. Like, I don't think they're going to cut him. A guy that maybe is on the bubble to get cut is tough. I feel like a lot of the guys that are established are well established, and I don't feel like there's a lot of those established guys.
Braswell maybe, and Edoga, guys like that.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Edoga, but I don't know that he's a guy that's like a name brand around that people know. He's spent here last year as a backup guy, so maybe Edoga. Braswell's definitely on the bubble, but I think they feel really good about him now that he's getting healthy, and he's getting another year in the system. Can Jabbar Muhammad push him for that spot? Maybe. Jabbar Muhammad definitely was the darling of the offseason program and has done nothing to take away from the hype around himself throughout training camp so far. He's continued to kind of shine. So maybe a Christian Braswell there at corner. But look, overall, I'd say I think most of the established guys are in a pretty good, safe spot. I'm really trying to think if there's a guy that's established on this roster that I feel like is in jeopardy. And I don't think there is. Maybe, I mean, if you want to say Edoga or Braswell, I mean, at that point, maybe Hunter Long. He scored the first touchdown last year. Guy like that.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be earth-shattering cuts either, but I agree. Long, Edoga, Braswell, guys that were on the team last year might be in trouble for making the 53 this year. And then final thought, give us 60 seconds. Joint practice on Thursday, game on Saturday. What are you looking for in New Orleans this week?
I need to see the Jaguars pass protection, because that has been the one thing. I mentioned the edge guys. Look, the Jaguars defense has been harassing every quarterback that goes out there. The pass rushers look great. And there's a level of, hey, they wanted to improve there. They've added a bunch of talent. These guys are going out there, and this is camp second year in the defense. Is it just that the pass rush has gotten that much better? Or has the Jaguars' offensive line and pass protection just struggled? So I think the pass rush has taken a step forward, but I need to see the Jaguars' pass protection for Trevor, for Nick, for Carter, be able to give those guys some time and control that pass rush down there in New Orleans, because it has struggled at times throughout training camp, specifically that right side of the offensive line with the first group. So that's what I want to see. I want to see how the offensive line holds up. If they can protect the quarterback and maybe open some running lanes for the running backs.
Jamal, tell us about Teal the Show and the coverage you guys will have on Channel 4 this week as the preseason for the Jaguars opens.
Yeah, we're rolling off and rolling. So Teal the shows every Monday and Friday night, 11:20 over here on Channel 4. If you want to come hang out with us, we'll do that until the Jaguars are done as we kind of guide you through training camp and keep going until, well, hopefully deep in February, Hacker. Maybe they can keep us busy for a while.
Yeah, hopefully you and I will be breaking bread in Los Angeles in
Come on
February. That would be unbelievable. Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4. Jamal, thank you as always. I'll see you out there at training camp tomorrow morning.
All right, see you, buddy.
Where is he? Where did he go?
Where's he going?
1010XL.
AA Automotive helps keep your vehicle in dependable and safe condition. Call Sam, Harry, or Joe, and they'll check your brakes, tires, fluids, electric, and motor, so your ride runs smooth on the road. That's AA Automotive on Richard Street.
It's your turn to talk, and we're listening. Holler at Hacker. Checked by AA Automotive on Richard Street.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialist is now offering ortho walk-in appointments. If you have an immediate need for orthopedic care, contact Southeast Orthopedic Specialist immediately. Avoid ERs and urgent care waiting rooms. For more information, go to se-ortho.com.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Hey everybody, it's Hacker. You think you're the best fantasy football player that listens to 1010XL? Well, now's your chance to prove it. Caller 4 right now, 904-641-1010, and you will get a spot in the HFL. Good luck, and I'll see you out at Twin Peaks on Thursday night, August the 20th.
Give us your hot take.
Pop quiz, hot shot.
On the 1010XL text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm awake and I speak English, so yeah, I do know what you're saying.
Be part of the conversation. 641-1010.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
You know that little voice in your head that says, I really should do something about that septic system? If your yard's getting soggy, things aren't draining like they used to, or you've caught a smell that definitely wasn't there before, don't wait until it becomes an emergency. This month, save $500 on a new septic system installation from Duck Duck Rooter. As the only master septic contractor in Northeast Florida, Duck Duck Rooter will handle the whole job from permits to final inspection, and you know the work is done right. So when you're stuck, call Duck Duck Rooter, 904-862-6769 or duckduckrooter.com. Financing is available.
When you're hungry, go big, and more importantly, go to Dailies, where they got anything and everything to tantalize your taste buds and fill you up. At Dailies, our barbecue beef brisket sandwich is slow smoked to perfection, tender, juicy, and full of bold flavor. It's the kind of sandwich that truly satisfies. Try the barbecue brisket sandwich at Dailies. Meanwhile, some favorites never go out of style. The Duval sub at Dailies is stacked, loaded, and made with the bold flavor you want in every bite. Fresh ingredients, big taste. It's a local favorite. Grab the Duval sub today at Dailies. Or maybe you just want a delicious chicken sandwich. Some choices just work. The chicken sandwich at Dailies is crispy on the outside, it's juicy on the inside, and it is full of flavor. Perfect for lunch, perfect for dinner, perfect anytime hunger hits. So grab the chicken sandwich today at Dailies. Dailies is made fresh, it's made local, and Dailies is built for big appetites. I'll see you there today.
For 25 years, Instant Keys has been the go-to locksmith service for car keys, transponders, and even high-tech smart locks. For honest, professional locksmith service,
Instant Keys comes to you.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focus, fueled, fearless, Farah. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And thank you to my buddy Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4 for joining us this evening. That Jamal St. Cyr interview was your cornerstone interior solutions interview of the night. Look, your air conditioner shouldn't have to work overtime in the Florida heat. That's why more homeowners and builders in Northeast Florida are calling my friends at Cornerstone Interior Solutions for spray foam insulation in homes, crawl spaces, garages, and more. The bottom line is that spray foam helps keep the heat out, the comfort in, and your energy bills under control. Comfort wins, efficiency wins, Cornerstone wins. Give my friends at Cornerstone Interior Solutions a phone call, 904-540-4572, or you can check out cornerstoneinteriorsolutions.com and tell Jared and the great folks over there at Cornerstone that Hacker sent you from Hacker After Dark. Jaguars back on the practice field tomorrow. In fact, I'm scheduled to go one-on-one with Jaguar defensive lineman Devon Hamilton following practice tomorrow down at the Miller Electric Center, and you will hear that conversation coming up tomorrow night on Hacker After Dark. Not only the Jaguars, right? College football in full swing. You realize we are 19 days away, less than 3 weeks from Florida State hitting the field at Doak Campbell Stadium. Seminoles, Gators, Bulldogs, and Hurricanes in full swing. In fact, we'll do team reports on all 4 of those schools different times this week here on Hacker After Dark. Jordan DeLugo, Generation Jaguar, joins me in less than 10 minutes. We're glad you're with us on a Monday. It's Hacker After Dark.
Some people call it X. What? Some still call it Twitter. Okay, I got it. Whatever you call it, it's the best place for up-to-the-minute Jags coverage from 1010XL. Streaming live from the XL Digital Studios. Polished by Harbor Dental Care, the locally owned smile restoration experts.
Rick Ballou here with a congratulations for John's Auto. They've been in business in Jacksonville for 40 years. That's right, going all the way back to 1985. Right now, they'd like to thank each and every one of you who's ever gotten their vehicle serviced at John's Auto. So, car, truck, or diesel, all makes, all models, whether it's a routine maintenance or a complete engine overhaul, go to John's Auto on Arlington Road, JohnAutomotiveJax.com.
Checkmate. I'm Brendan Cecilia, founder of Checkmate Coatings.
And I'm Chester, Checkmate's chess man, and, you may be surprised, newfound fan of American football.
Really? You?
Absolutely. Listen to this. Duval!
It's Duval, Chester. Duval.
That's what I said. Duval!
Ball. Ball.
Ball. The point is, Brendan, with football season approaching and friends dropping by your house to watch the games, there's no better time to spiff up your garage with a beautiful, durable, polymer-coated floor.
We can even do it in team colors for the real fans out there.
Oh, that is a good idea.
A garage floor your friends will love?
Check. In a color that makes you proud?
Check. Installed by locals who can actually pronounce Duval?
Checkmate.
Transforming your floors, making them great. Checkmate.
Visit checkmatecoatings.com. That's checkmatecoatings.com.
Hollar at Hacker. Accelerated by AA Automotive on Richard Street. 1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Now, the Monahan's golden moment. Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach, your local family jewelers.
Well, clearly the golden moment. The Jaguars 2 weeks into camp. They're right back out on the field tomorrow. I'm scheduled to go one-on-one with Devon Hamilton after practice tomorrow. You'll hear that tomorrow night here on Hacker After Dark, and then a little bit of a walkthrough on Wednesday before they head to New Orleans for a joint practice Thursday and the first preseason game coming up on Saturday. Let's talk Jags. Let's talk the draft class, and let's talk about what we're going to look for at the joint practice on Thursday and the game on Saturday out in the Big Easy. Jordan DeLugo of Generation Jaguar, he joins me next on a Monday night here in Northeast Florida, talking Jaguars with you. Glad you're with us on Hacker After Dark.
What do you think Dan and Jeff would be doing if they were never hired at 1010XL?
We were just wondering if you could give us a little advice on our careers.
Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
Get out of show business. Now.
Mornings on 1010XL.
Summertime is here, and that means it's grilling season. Now, before you overpay at the big box stores, make a stop at Houston's Meat Company on Main Street in Jacksonville. For more than 50 years, Houston's has been Jacksonville's local butcher shop, serving up quality meats, incredible prices, and the kind of service you just can't find at the grocery chain. Steaks, burgers, chicken, ribs, whatever's on the grill this weekend, Houston's has you covered. Shop local, grill better. Follow Houston's Meats on social for updated weekly specials.
Call it, text it, drop it in the chat. Holler at Hacker. Driven by AA Automotive on Richard Street.
Hey, Hicken here. I couldn't be any happier than to join the George Moore Chevrolet family. When I say family, I mean it. Visit their beautiful showroom today off Atlantic Boulevard. Find out exactly what I'm talking about. No pressure, just friendly help. And whether you want a car, a truck, SUV, electric, pre-owned, you name it, George Moore Chevrolet has it. And if you can't make it over to Atlantic Boulevard, no problem. MooreChevy.com is easy to navigate as any site you will try. It's never been more easy to use. George Moore Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
It all comes down to Daytona. The Coke Zero Sugar 400 returns at the Cup Series regular season finale August 28th through 29th. Who has the most victories in the Coke Zero Sugar 400? Text the driver's last name only to 641-1010. Who has the most victories in the Coke Zero Sugar 400? Text the driver's last name only to 641-1010 for your chance to win a 4-pack of tickets and 4 Fan Zone VIP passes to the Coke Zero Sugar 400 August 29th.
I've worked with a lot of advertisers over the years, and you learn pretty quickly which ones are selling something and which ones actually care what happens after the sale. I'm Greg Gajewski, and when Awaken 180 first came to 1010XL, it started with Mike Dempsey, then Matt Hayes. From that first call, they wanted to understand our audience, not just buy a schedule. I talked with Paige, learned how the program worked, and at one point said, we got a guy, Hacker, that could really use this. And her answer was immediate, let's help him. That's their entire mission. That's always been their answer. No revolving door, no corporate runaround. Paige never franchised Awaken 180 because she wants every coach, client, and endorser to feel supported. I saw that as a business partner, and then I experienced it myself. I went on the program and lost 50 pounds. That's why I endorse Awaken 180, not just because they're a 1010XL client, but because they care about people, and you feel it every day. Awaken180weightloss.com. Awaken180weightloss.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Here's another call on the 1010XL hotline, driven by Key Buick GMC, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. And it is game week for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Preseason game number 1, Jaguars and the Saints at the Superdome in New Orleans on Saturday. Of course, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL. And the Jaguars will be out in New Orleans a few days early this week for a joint practice with those New Orleans Saints. Let's talk about the first 2 weeks of training camp. Let's look ahead to the game on Saturday. And let's do that with my buddy Jordan DeLugo of Generation Jaguar, who's always kind enough to join us here on Hacker After Dark. Jordan, how we doing?
Doing great. Absolutely. It's been fun. It's been hot, but that's football season. It's back and ready to kind of get into this next phase, like you mentioned, where you actually get to see the Jags competing against some other teams.
You and I spoke on the eve of training camp about 2 weeks ago, so I'll ask you individual things in a moment, but from a mile-high view, your overall assessment now 2 weeks into Jaguar training camp.
Yeah, I think it's been a lot of punches, not literally, figuratively, traded back and forth between the Jaguars' offense and their defense. Both of these sides were top 10 units in 2025, and I think you're seeing that, like the result of that, and consistency. Like, I don't think it's inconsistent in terms of how people are preparing or how the coaches are preparing them. It's just like you have 2 really good units going head to head day after day after day. And especially the last week or so, you've seen a little bit more of the ones versus ones, and you've just got a lot of talent competing out there. So I think that you might look at it and feel like neither side of the ball has been dominant enough, but I think it's really kind of the opposite side of that same coin, in that you just got 2 really good units going after each other.
You start looking at big storylines that are developing, and there's been a few, Jordan. Let's hit those right now. Let's go first to the offensive line. I think, at least me, 3-4 weeks ago, if I would have told you that Van Lanen, Cleveland, Hainsey, Macari, Harrison were going to be opening day starting offensive line, I think most people would have been fine with that and would have believed that. Van Lanen gets placed on PUP, and I don't know if this is a direct result of that, but it certainly looks like Anton Harrison is going to be the left tackle, barring something changing. And then I'm not sure what's going to happen at right guard now with Macari, with Milam, or maybe even Walker Little in the conversation. What do you make about the offensive line as it stands right now?
Yeah, it seems like at right guard you could even throw in Jonah Monheim in that mix. But yeah, if they were going to be switching back and forth and just cross-training Anton Harrison, then they'd be switching back and forth and cross-training. It's not. Like, it's just left tackle, right? So it seems like that is the plan. There's no official word on that, but it looks like he's your starting left tackle. And it does make sense to me from the standpoint, like, do you want your best player on the offensive line protecting Trevor Lawrence's blind side? Yeah. And you could argue Cole Van Lanen was maybe as consistent or more consistent than Anton, but there's no question about the level of talent and physical ability that Anton Harrison brings to the field. But then you also have the injury on top of it with Cole Van Lanen, and it does seem like they expect him to be back for week 1. That's what they've kind of talked about being the goal, but that remains to be seen officially. But yeah, I think it definitely has been flipped on its head a little bit. And you mentioned right guard. It seems like, could that just be like an open competition at this point?
I agree. And again, Jordan DeLugo of Generation Jaguar. And my thought on the right guard is this. I remember when Macari missed, was it a game or two last year, and Walker Little went in to right guard. I thought he played pretty well. And I know he gets a lot of grief from the fan base at tackle for things that have happened. And people have whatever thought they have on Walker Little. But I thought when he moved inside last year, when Macari got injured, I kind of liked what I saw, and I wonder if that's where it ultimately winds up.
Yeah, that would not surprise me at all. From a money standpoint, it'd be nice for the Jaguars if Walker Little was in the starting lineup just based on how much they're paying him, right? But he did play well at right guard last year, kind of to my surprise. When he had been thrown in the lineup before at left guard, I didn't think it looked as good as his left tackle tape. Of course, that was a different regime. That was a different offensive scheme. You had him come in here last year. He didn't look as good at tackle as he did at guard. Maybe he's the one who ends up winning that. And I think, maybe physically in this scheme, his skill set just fits better at guard than it does at tackle.
We'll certainly see, but the offensive line has become one of the big interesting points to follow as camp continues. Another one, Jordan, and you and I talked about this 2 weeks ago, the battle at linebacker between Ventrell Miller and Branson Combs. I don't know what you think, but I think both guys to this point have had pretty good camps. Where are we, in your opinion, between Miller and Combs right now for that linebacker spot?
Yeah, so entering, I just went with Miller just because he's the vet. He has experience not only in this system, but, before this coaching staff got here. And then he had to play last year when Devin Lloyd was hurt and he was competing for the job. So I was thinking it would be Miller, and it still very well could be. But Combs and Miller have both been putting on a show throughout training camp. They have been some of the most mentioned names in terms of playmaking, whether that be in pass coverage, whether that be in run defense. They've both been making plays in both areas. It does seem like skill set wise, Combs might have a little bit more of a leg up, or at least more potential as a cover player than Miller, and Miller maybe a little bit more of a downhill thumper. So maybe you do see like a little bit of a timeshare. It could be game to game based on their opponent. It could be drive to drive based on the situation. And you could also see neither of them on the field at times, just because the Jaguars probably will want to get 4 corners on the field at times, 3 safeties on the field at times. So I think there's going to be a lot of moving parts at the second and third level of the defense, and there's always a rotation up front on defense.
Couple of more for Jordan DeLugo of Generation Jaguar. Let's talk about Travis Hunter. All the talk nationally that he wasn't going to play any wide receiver, and then he comes out on the opening practice of camp in a teal offensive jersey, and he's been on the field a lot as a wide receiver, has been on the field a lot as a DB as well. Obviously, that national narrative appears to have been way, way overblown. He's going to have a big role on defense, Jordan, no question, but there certainly appears he's going to have a role on offense as well.
Yeah, I think one of the things maybe some people missed in this whole assessment of things is that the Jaguars really like their corners too. I know everybody loves the Jags wide receivers, and rightfully so. You've got, Jacoby Myers, super consistent. Parker Washington broke onto the scene in the back half of the year, and everybody knows the talent that Brian Thomas Jr. has. But Jordan Lewis, Jarian Jones, Buster Brown, that is a good group of corners too. So I honestly think there's going to be games where Travis Hunter plays a lot more corner. There's going to be games where he plays a lot more receiver. It's going to be matchup dependent. It's going to be situationally dependent. And obviously, if there's injuries at either spot, then you might lean a little bit more in that direction. But I'm excited to see him play. I do think he's a little bit more just prepared to be a super high level corner. I think that he's focused more on that side of the ball throughout his career. But the talent and the playmaking is undeniable at wide receiver as well.
Look, there's no doubt Brian Thomas Jr. has had very good practices. Jacoby Myers has looked good. Travis Hunter has had moments at wide receiver. Heck, Austin Trammell, the two rookies, C.J. Williams, Josh Cameron have had their moments. But the star of this thing has been Parker Washington. And, you and I spoke in the offseason. If you go back to December of last year and you black out the names, right, so you don't know what stat line you're reading, there weren't 5 receivers in the NFL in the month of December that put up better numbers than Parker Washington. His worst game was 87 yards and a touchdown. He had over 100 in every other game at the tail end of last year. And Jordan, he's come in this offseason, particularly this training camp, and the dude is a machine. And I know people want to talk about his contract, and that'll certainly be a more and more noise in that as we get closer to the season. But for what I've seen 2 weeks into camp, man, I have really, really high thoughts about Parker Washington coming into this year.
Yeah, I would say, excuse me, his performance has been even more than I would have expected so far in camp. And I had very high expectations for him. I expected him to lead the Jaguars in targets, receptions, all that stuff. But it's been just, I think that he's separated himself even further than I had expected. I mean, that's not to throw any shade at anyone else in the receiving room. It's about Parker Washington, not anyone else. The way he works at it, the way he studies it. First guy in the building they've talked about. He needs to get the code to be able to turn on the lights in the indoor facility, all that stuff. And he just has kind of I think, a more versatile and well-rounded skill set than anybody else in the room. Look, BTJ as a vertical threat is incredible. Jacoby Myers as a possession receiver is very good. Parker Washington has a little bit of everything to his game, it seems like.
Jordan, I want to look big picture in a moment. Real quick, Trevor Lawrence, your thoughts on him 2 weeks into camp?
Yeah, I think there's obviously some throws he'd like back, some decisions he'd like back. Is some of that due to the fact that you're trying to test the limits a little bit during a practice where you wouldn't necessarily do that during a game? Maybe that definitely could be the case. But overall, again, he's playing a defense every single day, coached by Anthony Campanile. They show them a lot of different looks. They have a lot of post-snap coverage rotation. Most quarterbacks that I think play against Anthony Campanile this year are going to have a little bit of a tough time. I don't think he's looked like an absolute, top tier 1 quarterback, but I think he's looked about how you would expect. And I think that playing against this defense every day is going to prepare him to have an even better regular season than what we're seeing in training camp. I'm very comfortable with where we're at with him, but I do think pretty much it's just a few missed throws here or there and maybe a couple missed decisions away from looking like a tier 1 absolute top level quarterback.
Final moments, Jordan DeLugo of Generation Jaguar. All right, Jordan, admittedly, you are a draft guy, so these first and second year guys that most would think are under the radar, you know about them because it's what you do. You do a million draft videos in the offseason. It's one of your big deals on your channel there on YouTube and social media. But for the average, everyday Jaguar fan, give them one or two guys that you think have stood out that have a better chance of making the roster now than maybe you thought they did a month ago.
Yeah, so Zach Durfee, 7th-round pick this year. I didn't know. I mean, there's just so many guys at that spot. Obviously, you have your big top two at edge with Trayvon Walker and Josh Hines-Allen. Wesley Williams, you traded up in the 4th round to get, so he's not going anywhere. Seems like Danny Strigo has a solidified role on the team. And so it's like BJ Green, Zach Durfee, is one of them going to make the team? I honestly think you're at the point where both of them will make the team and they're just going to roll with 6 edge players because you do need depth at that position, but it's just guys that really get it and work and produce. And so I think Zach Durfee has kind of worked his way into that type of situation. When you look at, I thought Jabbar Muhammad would probably make the team, but he needed to continue kind of playing the way he was playing throughout the offseason program, and he absolutely has. He's been one of the Jaguars' best, most consistent cover players at corner. So those are a couple guys, and then I think maybe you look at the offensive side of the ball, maybe there was some question about if both rookie wide receivers that they drafted would make the team, Josh Cameron and CJ Williams. I do think both will be on the team. They've both basically in every practice at least made one really good play. And I think that the way they prepare and kind of like the mindset they bring, preparation they bring, falls right in line with the culture of what Liam Cohen's been trying to build here.
That's the positive side. The negative side, is there maybe a veteran that has been here for a couple of years that might be in more trouble of making the roster than you originally thought?
It's a good question. There's not a lot of players that I think really fit that bill. I mean, maybe at tight end, but you do have Quentin Morris who went down. Not sure exactly what's going to happen there. Like Quentin Morris or Hunter Long, maybe one of those two aren't on the team. But outside of that, I'm trying to think about some. I mean, I guess Christian Braswell, if they go shallow at corner, Jabbar Muhammad could take that spot potentially. But I don't think any super high, big name type of players that are going to be maybe not on the roster.
Yeah, the only one I could think of, you look at the offensive line, there's some injuries on the O-line now, but what do they do with Edoga? You know, that sort of thing. But yeah. I agree. I don't think there's going to be a huge name that just wows people in a couple of weeks that doesn't make the final 53-man roster. A couple of practices this week, then they head to New Orleans for a joint and a game on Saturday. Give us 60 seconds. What are you looking for in the game in New Orleans on Saturday afternoon?
Yeah, it's going to be real interesting just because, like, I don't know, with having a joint practice before every preseason game this year, I don't know how much starters will play, if at all, basically. I think maybe some of the starters that are, players competing for a starting job maybe are out there. But I'm looking kind of the guys that we just mentioned, the rookies and second-year players. That is what I will be watching the most. I'm not going to be at the joint practice, but in the game, I'm going to be watching those players to see how they perform. I think the Saints have built a decent roster out, so it's good competition they're going to be going up against. And I want to see those rookies and second-year players show that they're ready to take the next step.
Jordan, tell us about Generation Jaguar and the coverage you'll have this week heading into the game on Saturday in New Orleans.
Yeah, we cover every training camp practice, so we'll have a couple of those for y'all, and then obviously trying to figure out exactly how to cover a joint practice that you're not at. But yeah, definitely just kind of reviewing what the Saints have that you're probably going to be looking at there from their side of things and how that can potentially test what the Jaguars have in those young players that we mentioned.
Yeah, joint practice in New Orleans this week, but then Carolina comes here next week, and Tampa comes here for 2 joint practices at the end of August. Jordan DeLugo of Generation Jaguar. Jordan, thank you as always for the time. I'll see you down there at the Miller Electric Center tomorrow morning.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me on, Hacker.
And thank you to Jordan DeLugo of Generation Jaguar for joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark as the day off for the Jaguars today. They're right back out there on the practice field tomorrow. Have a little bit of a walkthrough on Wednesday before they travel to New Orleans. Got a joint practice with the Saints out in New Orleans on Thursday. And then preseason game number 1 this Saturday, Jacksonville at New Orleans. And, of course, you'll hear that game right here on your home of the Jacksonville Jaguars, 1010XL and 92.5 FM. As far as in the morning, I will be down at the Miller Electric Center, scheduled to go one-on-one with Jaguar defensive lineman Devon Hamilton after practice tomorrow, and you will hear that conversation tomorrow night here on Hacker After Dark. So we certainly spent a lot of time on that. The Jaguars about 2 weeks in to training camp, and again, their first preseason game. The game will be fun, no doubt, but what's interesting this year as opposed to other years is the Jaguars have joint practices with literally every team they play in the preseason. Joint practice with New Orleans this week, a joint practice here at the Miller Electric Center with Carolina before the game next week, and then 2 joint practices with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers before the preseason finale on August the 28th. So, going to get a lot of work in with the joint practices. We'll see how much that means for playing time in the actual games themselves. But, yeah, we're on the cusp of it as preseason game number 1, Jacksonville and New Orleans, comes up this Saturday. Well, that will just about do it, man. Very, very busy Monday night edition of Hacker After Dark. Glad to be back with you after a mini one-day getaway last week, but now kind of the grind begins. As far as I know, I'll be here every night over the next 4+ months. Don't plan on taking another day off until at least December. So it's go time. It's football season. We got the Hacker Fantasy League next week. We got Friday Night Lights on the horizon. We got the 5th quarter on the horizon. We got Gator Bites podcast and, of course, Hacker After Dark. So it's going to be very, very busy. But, of course, we love it during football season. A lot of people to thank for tonight's broadcast. Jordan DeLugo of Generation Jaguar. Always appreciate Jordan. Likewise, my buddy Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4 as we looked back on the first 2 weeks of Jaguar training camp and previewed the New Orleans matchup on Sunday. And thank you to Jared Justice. He was your producer tonight here on Hacker After Dark. Jared, great job as always. And it should go without mentioning, but we always are very thankful for you, the listener who listens to us every night here on Hacker After Dark, and we cannot possibly thank you enough for doing that. So for all of us here on HAD, have a terrific remainder of your Monday evening. And again, we'll be back here tomorrow night. I'll be down at the Miller Electric Center tomorrow morning, scheduled to go one-on-one with Jaguar D lineman Devon Hamilton. And you will hear that conversation and much, much more on a Tuesday night edition of Hacker After Dark beginning at 8 o'clock. Until then, good night, Jacksonville.
Got a leaky faucet, a running toilet, a drain that's slowing down? If you've been meaning to call a plumber, now's the perfect time to call Duck Duck Rooter. Schedule any plumbing service during August, and while our technician is already at your home, we'll include a free water heater inspection. It's just one more way we deliver the Duck Duck standard. Honest recommendations, fair, upfront pricing, and no surprises. If you're calling a plumber anyway, why not get a little bit more while we're there? When you're stuck, call the Duck. 904-862-6769 or duckduckrooter.com.
This is Jeff Middlecoff with Cogent Bank. My associate Ryan Salem and I joined Cogent Bank because we wanted to revolutionize the mortgage business, just like Cogent Bank has revolutionized the banking business. So Ryan Salem and I are able to leverage the power